Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2015 movie Avengers Age of Ultron. So, in this movie, Tony Stark is wanting to create a peacekeeping program that'll put a shield of armor around the world called Ultron, which is an artificial intelligence, and he creates it, and it creates a mind of its own, and gets its own body, and becomes a huge threat to the world when it decides instead of protecting the world, Ultron decides he wants to destroy it and start all over. And so it's up to the Avengers to face Ultron and stop him from destroying the world and causing human extinction. This movie is really good. I've always really liked this one quite a bit. I know it's always been one that Marvel fans, some of them love it, some of them think it's just mediocre and everything. I've always really enjoyed it though. Ever since I first saw it, I thought it was really fun. There are things in here that I don't like. There's this little subplot with Natasha and Bruce Banner, and it's like they're trying to force a relationship between the two of them. It just feels forced and everything. It's like they could have written them to have like a really great friendship and stuff, and it would have been more emotional than what they tried to give us with this relationship, because it just wasn't very well written, and it didn't go anywhere. In any of the other movies, they didn't do anything with that, so it was kind of pointless anyway. But I did enjoy this movie for the most part. I thought that the cast were all once again excellent in their roles, and you get new cast members in here this time. James Spader is the voice of Ultron. It's really good, and Ultron isn't as good of a villain as the other villains in the other Avenger movies like Thanos or Loki. He's definitely not near as good as them, but I think he's still a pretty decent villain, and he's kind of underrated. I just wish that they would have done more with him. This movie could have done a lot more with Ultron, but I still think he was a fine enough villain for what we got. And then this is also the one where we get introduced to Wanda Maximoff, who becomes Scarlet Witch, and she's come a long way since this movie, but it's fun going back and rewatching this after seeing WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness, and seeing how much the character has changed and everything throughout. But you also got it kind of reminds me that we did get to see a little bit of her dark side in this movie and everything, and we got to see all of her dark side in Multiverse of Madness, which was awesome. Although, who knows, we could see her again, and she could be even more crazy, who knows. But I have a feeling if we do see Scarlet Witch again, she's going to be getting they're going to try to do a redemption on her. I just have that feeling. But yeah, it was a really good introduction to her. And then her brother, Pietro, I think is his name. He's played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. He does a really good job too, and everything. Although I've never really been that big of a fan of Quicksilver. This version, I like the X-Men version more, and that might be why. Maybe I just have a bias towards him, but this version, he didn't really do much for me, and he dies in here, so it's not like he really has a lasting impression on me. The main thing I really like about him is the emotional stuff that it does for Wanda and his character and stuff. But he's just not a character that I'm really that big of a fan of. And then also Vision is introduced in this one too, and it was pretty cool getting to see him and everything for the first time. Again, I had forgotten how far he's come too, although he hasn't changed a lot. He didn't really get to do a lot of stuff in the other movies, which was kind of disappointing because I thought he was a pretty cool character at first. He's never been one of my favorites either, though, but I thought he was kind of cool when this first came out. But the action scenes in here are really good. My favorite one is probably the fight with Hulk and Iron Man in his Hulkbuster suit. I love that scene, but it has a lot of great action in here. The third act is full of it, but you also kind of have to feel bad for these people that are living in these towns and stuff, because I'm pretty sure that the Avengers killed more people in this movie than most horror movie killers have in all of their franchises, because it got like really crazy in some of the fight scenes. But yeah, so all in all, I think that Avengers Age of Ultron is a pretty fun movie. It's not the best in the franchise or anything, but it's definitely not near as bad as a lot of people say it is. It's just fun. Like I said, you take out the little subplot with Bruce and Natasha, and it's a lot better. It would have been a lot better movie, but like I said, they could have just written the relationship between them two better. They could have just made them really good friends. I know they kind of had that going with her and Cap, but it would have even made her death even more emotional, seeing her have like all these different connections with all the different Avengers, her personal friendships with each of them. That would have just made Endgame even more emotional if they would have done it that way, instead of doing the forced romantic thing with her and Bruce and everything. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of this movie, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.